Okay, so when I last left off, I was doing my Nintendo, and then I couldn't find that one game, so I wound up finding my Atari games instead. So I'll just do something on them instead. So as I try to drink my coffee at the same time, but I mean, I really don't even remember when I got the Atari, but I know that it was apparently we got it in 1987, which was 4 years after that video game crash of 1983. So, but I think I was probably either in preschool or was in kindergarten. And I think I was probably in kindergarten, I want to think. But I mean, pretty much, I mean, all I really remember mostly is when we went and got the Atari, because my mom was like out somewhere, and I don't know where Miranda was at, my sister. My sister was at either. And so it was just me and Dad, and he just, I don't even know if he even said anything, but what he said, but we got in the car, and then we were driving, and I think we drove to Greenwood, and we were either we either went to the mall in the back, like Sears, or we went to Children's Palace. It was one of the two, and all I know is, I guess, is like he was looking around. We went in the back to where the game systems were, and he was looking around, and I really don't remember. I don't even know what was going on in my head. I was like, I don't even know what we're doing here. But so then he picked up the Atari, and then he picked up those two games, and then we drove home and then plugged it in, and that's pretty much the story. But we did only we only plugged it into a black and white TV. So and we had the in that house we had like some room off to the side, because our house was like rectangular. So great. Get coffee on the bed. That's real nice. Real nice. So I mean, and then we had like that room, and that was like the Atari room, and it was a black and white TV, and we just basically had that. But prior to that, pretty much I had our cousins had an Atari, and that's pretty much how I knew about it. And on occasions, I think whenever we went to Chuck E. Cheese's for some family, well, it wasn't Chuck E. Cheese's, man. It was called it was actually called Showbiz Pizza back then. But so I mean, I would always want to go to the arcade and play video games. So I mean, they knew that I had some kind of attraction for video games when they bought this. So But then we would occasionally put the Atari on the color TV in the living room. I mean, not the living room. And they're actually in their bedroom, because that's why we didn't have the Atari hooked up, because the TV in the living room was specifically, I guess, only for TV watching. So then I guess on rare occasions, I guess after the pleading became too overwhelming, they would occasionally plug the Atari, I guess, into the color TV in their bedroom, and it didn't last very long in there. So it would only be in there for like maybe a few hours for the day, and then it went right back to where it belonged. So anyway, I mean, not much can really be said about Miss Pac-Man anyway. And I don't have the instruction booklet because I can't find it. And I'm not going to go and dig and tear this room apart to try to find it. But it was actually pretty good for the first two games. I mean, that got picked out. I mean, it was pretty good. It's way better than what they did with the first Pac-Man, because that first Pac-Man game was a pretty big letdown, apparently, for everyone. I mean, I guess if you play the arcade and then you took and bought that Pac-Man game, and you put it in and played it, I guess it was pretty disappointing. But not for kids who really just didn't give a shit. It was like, it's Atari, we don't care. It looks different, but it's still Pac-Man. But so, I mean, I got quite a bit of gameplay with it, but as being a kid, though, I mean, I really wasn't that good at it, in the sense that I would only play it with the with the game setting on for like one ghost only, because you could and I forget how many there are in Pac-Man. It's like 4. Yeah, it's like 4. And then I think one actually has 5, but don't ask me. I don't know. But as a kid, you're not really good at things, so we would just, I would just, so I'm assuming this is like even before maybe I was in preschool, because I remember spending more time, and I really didn't go anywhere or do anything. So I usually spent most of the day with the Atari anyway. So I think this was before I was even in preschool or something. But mostly playing this game with like one go setting. So I mean, and then I would only get so far, and then the maze stops changing, and really the challenge just kind of runs out. I mean, there really wasn't that much challenge anyway. So I mean, eventually I started getting tired of it, because it was just really dull. So all right, well, this is getting close to be 10 minutes, so I'm just going to get another cup of coffee, and I'll just stop off at this point here.